Para X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. You have always Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The calling.
Good evening, everybody. It's just Willow and I tonight. Willow, how are you?
I am doing great, Kimberly. It stopped raining today. It's a great day.
Oh, really? You guys had rain this whole time?
We've had rain for over a week, like every single day. Like,
Oh, no way.
My garden hates me. It's like, it's bad. So finally stopped raining. So yeah, it's a good day.
Good. Well, good. I'm sure, yeah, the plants are probably like hating it, actually. Yeah, so right now we have sunshine, and it's probably, I want to say it's about 70, I want to say.
Nice.
But it's beautiful. It's sunny and bright. A little bit of clouds, but other than that, everything seems to be all right. And
That's
tonight
good.
we don't have Jerry with us tonight, so I think he left on a cruise to Alaska, and he left us. I don't know, but he will be back next week for sure, I think.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yes. So tonight's show, we were thinking about talking about the most haunted places so far. Oh, there goes our kitty. Oh, he wants to say things too. There's Jerry. There he is right there. He's talking.
He's just meowing.
He's just meowing. Anyways.
Yeah, lots of haunted places to talk about tonight for sure.
Yes. So we were thinking about talking like places that you've done that are haunted, and I picked some top 10 most haunted places. Now, I don't think we can get through all of them, but I think we'll have a few, so we can go back and forth on that. So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Willow. What are your favorite places? Like, what would...
Well, I happen to live in probably one of the most haunted cities in the world. So
lucky you, of course.
Yeah, I've investigated several places here in New Orleans, whether it's private locations or hotels, Airbnbs, stores, all kinds of places here. And so this is just like, when I moved here, I guess this is like my favorite haunted spot. You know, it's like the whole city.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now I'm looking for a new location because the city did close down a lot of stuff during COVID. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it's kind of like, now I've got to find a new location, and I'm probably going to have to pay to spend the night there. But I think it'll be worth it. I've got clients that are coming to town. They're wanting to do a paranormal investigation. I better find me a new location, right?
Right. Absolutely. I know. So I've been there to New Orleans, and I had the most fabulous time ever. And we did go to we did a haunted tour of the cemetery. And to me, just even during the day, and there was quite a few people, but you just kind of feel the way the city is. And I mean, you could just tell just the feeling, the atmosphere that's in the city itself when you're walking in the downtown area. And I mean, it's a wonderful place, you know, but you do know that there are very haunted places in that area. So, especially the houses and mansions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, they claim in the French Quarter alone that over 99% of the places have had at least one person die in the building, which, that makes sense. I mean, during yellow fever, whole families were dropping like flies. They were dropping in the streets. So they claim we have more dead than we have living here.
Oh, I believe that.
When you walk down the street, you're probably walking through some ghosts, because I can feel them. And even if you're not sensitive, people will kind of look around their shoulder and see, what was that?
Right,
It's just that kind of place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that to me is just bizarre. Well, so when I went and I visited and I got off the plane, I was walking through the city. I think I was walking through the city or looking at the city. I can't remember if I was on a tour or nothing or something like that. But I saw flowing of blood, like a lot of red going through, like a premonition of some sort that I was getting. And then another person that was a paranormal investigator, he's passed away now, he said he saw the exact same thing. And I was like, oh my God, what, to me it was like just death, or something, that's some sign of a death. But yeah, I just think it's fabulous. New Orleans is one of the most haunted places, and you cannot tell me you can't find anything out there. There's got to be. Oh yeah. I just want to find the perfect location. Like, I've done the Hotel Provincial, which was a French military hospital. They've got 5 buildings on the property that make the whole hotel. And in building number 5, that was the French military hospital. And I have stayed in there twice. And both times I've had a little girl come through, a little boy come through, and a couple of soldiers come through. And it's just so interesting, because the first time I investigated was in 2017. And the last time I investigated was December of 2019. And I heard the same voices. That's crazy. It
was great.
So what else, what do you feel like is the biggest place that could be haunted, other than, you know what I mean, that's in New Orleans?
I would have to say the Lorry Mansion is probably the most haunted building in the city, but of course it's a private residence and you can't go in to investigate it.
Right. Only so far I noticed that only like a few people were able to investigate. I think some of the big wigs on TV were able to get in there. But yeah, they claim that there's a lot in there,
Oh, it's just this, I get really creeped out even around the building. The first time I experienced that building, I had just moved to town. I knew nothing about the history.
Okay.
And I and another person were walking to the little deli that's just across the street from this building. And we got our food. We were walking back to the apartment, and I was walking on that side of the street with the building there. And all of a sudden I heard blood curdling screams for help. And I turned to this person. I said, "Did you hear that?" And they're like, "Hear what?" They didn't hear it. I heard it. And then all of a sudden I felt like hands reaching out of the building trying to grab me. And I'm like, I don't know what happened in this building, but I'm walking on the other side of the street.
That's crazy.
I never knew. I didn't even do any research about that building until that was in 2010 when that happened. And I never did research on the building till 2017, when I was going to do my tour company.
Okay.
That's when I finally found the history.
Now, that's the place where I guess the owner, she used to have, I don't know if they were slaves of some sort. And then she tortured them. Yep, she collected them and tortured them.
Yes.
Because she had a pleasure of doing that.
Yes.
So, so I knew a little bit about it, but
and I think her husband was in on it too. He was a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I heard that she was the one that took the pleasure of the torturing.
Yeah, she did. She was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably what you were seeing, was them trying to get help from you.
Yes.
So that's what I would imagine,
Well, they say that her ghost and lots of the slaves are still trapped in that building. Okay. They don't even know that they're dead.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're stuck.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's kind of just imprisoned there spiritually.
Yeah.
She has to stay.
Well, she probably, she got a thrill of it, and maybe she just, she just stays there, because that's her place. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how I would think that,
Oh, yeah.
she got a thrill of doing the torturing. And so that's her place. And I hear that anybody who comes back in, she kind of spooks them, because, she doesn't like anybody coming in. Yeah. So, yeah, that I can imagine that is way crazy. So, yeah. And I don't know why I'd say things like that, like way crazy, though that's cool. But it's because I know that these things actually happen,
Right.
So
exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, that would be the most haunted building
Okay.
that I will never go into.
Okay.
I've actually been asked if I would do a clearing on that building if
Okay.
they asked me, and I
Mhm.
refused because the
Okay.
last person that tried to do that died a few weeks later.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Mary Oneida Toops. She was
Okay.
one of the first of the elders that started a Wiccan church, a federally recognized Wiccan church here in the city.
Okay.
And they asked her to go in to do a clearing, and this was in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
And she had no reason to ever get stomach cancer. It doesn't run in the family. It was nothing that she would normally like drink or anything. She ended up dying of stomach cancer just a few weeks after doing the clearing on that building.
No way.
I will never do it. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I've seen her spirit. Her spirit has come to me, and I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm not going in that building. We're good.
Oh, yep.
We're
Yep.
good.
Oh, yeah, that would tell you. Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
She warned me. Yeah.
so what is one of the places that you would like to do?
I think someplace outside of New Orleans.
Okay.
I've never gone to the Waverly. I'd love to do the Waverly. I think that would be fun. That would be a great adventure. Also, I would love to do the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, okay. I don't know much about that town. Do you know anything about it?
I know that the building is supposed to be very haunted. It originally was this what did they call it? Kind of like a place where they would go to heal in the hot springs.
Oh,
and it was a fake, the doctor was just using it basically to make money off of the patients. And the patients were dying there, but the place is very active, and they claim it's like one of the most haunted hotels in the country. And that is one place I would love to go and stay. And it's not really that far from New Orleans. So it is on my bucket list.
Nice. Yeah, nice. So in New Orleans, so let's get back to New Orleans. So in New Orleans, on my top 10 list, and New Orleans, and maybe you have a little bit of, apparently the Myrtle Plantation is super haunted. I know a lot of people have done that place. What is your thoughts on that?
I do believe the Myrtles is very haunted. I have been there with a group, but only during the day. I haven't gotten to investigate it. And it's actually outside of New Orleans. It's in Francisville. So it's a little bit outside of the city limits. I think it took us like almost an hour maybe to get there. So it's quite a drive. But definitely I could feel a presence. I was tapped on my shoulder when I was doing a tour in the building. Turned around thinking that I was bumping into something. There was nobody there but the curtain. There was nothing that was tapping me. So that was pretty interesting. I had gone with a group of my vampire friends, and it was during Halloween weekend. So I think they were extremely active during that time. But yeah, the whole grounds I felt had activity on it, not just the main house, all of the grounds.
Right. So apparently these are the things that they see. So they feel children tugging and laughing and small footsteps in the main area. The house was built on an ancient burial ground, apparently. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, this is so far. There are 12 spirits on that, in that place. So there are 12 spirits, and one of them her name is Chloe, and she was a former slave. And she was punished because she was spying on her owner, apparently. And I guess they punished her by cutting her ear. And so to get back at the owner, she wanted to get back at the owner. She baked a cake or something, put poison in it, and the family, the mother and the children were the ones that ate it. So then they hung her apparently.
Yeah, she used oleander actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, oleander is a very poisonous plant, and she put
Okay.
the flowers of the oleander and boiled it in water and used the water in the cake. The idea was she was just going to get them sick so
Okay.
that it would make it look like she was getting them well, but
Okay.
she overdid it, and it killed the mother and the children.
Yeah. So, yep. So she
Yeah.
apparently is always, like, they say they see her on the outside more than they do see her in the inside, but she
Yeah.
was hung for the punishment. So
Yes.
I'm just letting you guys know about that. I think it's just pretty creepy and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And I would love to do the Myrtle Plantation for sure.
Yeah, and you can actually rent it out and
Mm-hmm.
stay there at night.
Okay.
I don't know what the cost is, but that might be something where everybody comes to town and we all rent the Myrtles.
Yeah.
That would
yeah.
be a lot of fun. And there's
I
other
also-
buildings there too that you can rent to stay.
Right.
in.
I was just going to say that there are some slave quarters, I think, or they tried to replicate them or
Yes.
something, but they still say that they are haunted. I think Taps was, I don't know, there's a couple of people that done it. And,
Yeah.
you know, some of those places were haunted. They caught some things, you know, things moving, of course, lamps and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think it's pretty awesome, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, all of our plantations are haunted. I'll just tell you that. I've done the Andrew Plantation here.
Okay.
It's now, it's a museum now, but I went and did an investigation before it opened. It is the Kid Ory and 1811 Slave Revolt Museum.
Okay.
That's where the slave revolt in 1811 started.
Oh.
And Charles DeLong was he
Yep.
was like an overseer, but he was also one of the slaves. And
Right.
he ended up starting the revolt, and he
Mhm.
got all of the plantations together, all of the slaves, to revolt against the owners. And he ended up killing Gilbert, who was Manuel's son that owned the Andrew Plantation. And I have heard both Charles's voice and Gilbert's, though he does like to go by the name Gil. He does not like the name Gilbert. He'll let us know that every time. I'll say, Gilbert, are you here? He goes, Gil. I'm like, okay, I got it. But yeah, you can feel the energy in that place. And there's children there as well, because there had been some children staying. It was like, it was kind of, what did they call those? It was kind of a, what do you call that when you could just stay at a location? A rooming house for a bit. Yeah, for a while. And so there were children there too. And the upstairs attic where nobody can go is one of those places that I investigated with my friend, Nolan Ash, who was on the show.
Oh, yeah.
A few months back. And so, yeah, that was really interesting. It was a very interesting investigation. Yeah.
That's really cool. So, so I was going to talk to you. So that was one of my top 10 people, top 10 places on there. So the other place, well, you talked about, of course, the Waverley Sanatorium, which is super haunted there. It was a hospital for the outbreak for tuberculosis, and but 60,000 people died in that hospital alone. So just letting you guys know that. So let's see. I also, are you on the chat at all, Willow?
Yeah.
Because I'm not on the chat. I don't have the second computer. Maybe answer some of the questions. Is there anybody saying?
Yeah, I'm looking here. We've got, let's see. Well, I did have it up. Just a sec.
I can't even get into it.
If my fingers would work today, we'd be really good. So Kat is saying that the historical record doesn't support the legend of the Woodruffs owning a slave named Chloe.
Okay.
Or any slaves. However, every one of the plantations, I can just verify this. Every plantation in this area had slaves. So they may not show their ownership,
Right.
but they do. Most of them did
Okay.
own slaves.
Okay. Anything else on there? Oh, look, it's starting to come up. Oh, I'm starting to come up, guys. Sorry about that.
Good.
Yeah. So anyways, any other questions, Willow, do you see?
That was the only thing that was really that was brought up.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we can only
Sounds
go
good.
by what we're told, right?
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
being in New Orleans, and because I had owned a tour company, I had a walking tour company from 2017 through 2018. So for 2 solid years, I did a walking tour company. And I will tell you that I have heard so many different versions of different hauntings from different tour guides. And there are some that are just the most ridiculous stories. And it's hard for me not to roll my eyes when I'm walking by and I'm listening to some of the stories, because I know they're not right. The problem is, what is a story? It's handed down from person to person. And it's like gossip. It's going to change from one person to another. I can tell you that the Myrtles is haunted. Whoever is there, I can feel it. I was tapped, on my shoulder, and many people have experienced things there. So even if it's not as accurate in the history, the stories, and yes, yellow fever did take a lot of people out during the 1800s. So, was it poisoning? I don't know. I just know that oleander would have been the flower of choice in those days to make a poison. And that's coming from a witch, of course.
And and not only that, I think some paranormal investigators caught like a picture of an apparition, and they say that it actually looks like, like maybe it would have been a slave or someone who like the help of some sort. So they have some pictures up there. So like you said, we just go from what they tell you in stories. So these were the couple of things that I caught on these stories. Yeah. So the other place, of course, was Waverley. And it was, like I said, 60,000 people died in the hospital. Secretly, some of these patients were also sent to the death chute. Now, the death chute was a place where they didn't want the patients to see all these people dying. Right. So they kind of hid it, and they would slide them down this chute, apparently. Yeah. Which I think is pretty bizarre. That is one of the places, on my bucket list. So I have not been there. I have not been there. So that would be one of the good ones. And that was on number 3 on my list. So yeah. So anyways, any other questions, Will, on there?
Yeah, well, I got one that says, interesting, like that hotel in Northwest Minnesota. Never had guests stay there that they could verify.
Okay.
But they claim they are haunting them. Interesting. I don't know what hotel that was. But we get lots of things all the time.
Right. And I just think, places are just haunted. We're not going to know a lot of people that have passed in some places. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or that have, like you said, we don't know for sure about the slaves or anything like that, or who's been on Native Americans. We don't know how many's been there, how many. Do you know what I mean? So we're just taking for what it's worth and seeing, and well, you probably see spirits that I wouldn't see, and I would see spirits that you wouldn't see. Yep. So it's just depending on that,
Right.
So
who it is and what you're experiencing at that time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So is there another place, Willow, that you would like to? Maybe it's on my list.
Well, I know there's a place I want to go. Of course, I get to go there in October, and I'm really looking forward to that. And that would be the Hotel Bar and Grill in Hamburg, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I hear that it's super haunted.
Super haunted. I can't wait.
I know this group that went out there and did an investigation, and they caught a scream, a blood curdling scream.
It was awful.
That-
It sounded like
yeah.
a banshee. Yeah.
I don't know, and people are just saying like maybe it's an animal, but no, I don't know. It sounded like a real true sound effect of a murder movie. That's what it sounded to me. I'm like, where the hell? What the hell? Where?
Right,
did you
but
something like
but
that?
the breathing also that went with that
yep,
EVP, that
yep.
was freaking me out. I got
Yeah.
chills, and I don't normally get chills from EVPs, but that like went wow.
Yeah.
So I hope I get to hear that. I hope I get to experience.
I get to hear.
that.
Yeah. We'll see, because I'm sure we're going to get total different experiences.
Oh yeah.
And I can't wait. So we're apparently we're going to do this event, and we're supposed to get all together, and that's where we're going to be doing the bar and grill in Hamburg,
Yeah.
and that's or Hamburg, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yep.
So I
So
think it's awesome.
exciting. But yeah, that's
It
on
is.
my bucket list.
It is. So yeah,
So
I can't
tell me
wait.
about some of the places you've investigated. What's the craziest place you have investigated, Kimberly?
Okay, so there's not some crazy places, because I've done a lot of private ones that seem really bizarre. One of the places was the Friar School up in Maxwell, Iowa, and to me it was haunted. Not super haunted where you're going to get all this craziness and everything. There was some things you just couldn't understand. There was also like a little girl voice that said thank you to one of my investigators. I mean, you could hear her say thank you, and she was in a classroom. There was, what else did we get? On EVP, we got a nurse that said her name, although I can't remember. I think it was Vivian or something like that. Can't remember. And then we were up in the principal area, and they talk about this on Kinder Spirits. It's funny because they were getting like some tapping sounds or something like that in this principal office. When we were sitting there, we could hear tapping in one of these closet areas that we were all sitting at. And my investigator was sitting up against the door, and she actually felt like if the door was just going to bust open on her.
Oh, wow.
And I kept hearing the sound next to me, and I'm like, what is going on? And, we did it with another investigating team. And I mean, I just, we didn't get a whole lot, but we got stuff, and it was well worth it to me just to say we were there. But out in the auditorium, I sat in a chair in the auditorium by myself, and Amy Bruin verified or validated this when I watched it after they went. And I kept telling my investigators, I kept feeling somebody behind me, and I kept turning around, looking around me, and I'm like, okay, something's going on. I kept telling them. They're like, what? We don't see anything. I'm like, something is behind me. I can feel it. And then, so I watched the episode that they did, and right away my investigator calls me and says, oh my God, you're not going to believe, and I said, what? She got the same reaction you did. And I'm like, I know, I told you guys, there was something going on. It felt like somebody over you and just like right there, just right by my neck and just there. Although I didn't get anything on EVP. I don't remember if we had it. I'm pretty sure we did, but I just thought it was very strange. And that was one of the places that I could say, okay, there's something in there. So if anybody wants to, I think they can still do setups for that, and they still do those hauntings, and that's at the Friar School, and I think it's Maxwell, Iowa. I think that's what it is. So
interesting. Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah, it is. It was very cool to be, and actually did it with a great team, 2 teams together, and it was pretty awesome. So yeah.
Cool. You got any more top locations that?
Yeah. So
on your list.
So I have, which I think, let's see. So let's go let's take a break.
Let's take a break, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a truly unique podcast experience, we have you covered. Spirit Bayou with CJ Dunham airs live from the Third Coast in Southeast Texas on Tuesday and Fridays at midnight Eastern Time, covering Creole folklore and folk magic to strange paranormal activity to new equipment for the field. CJ Dunham is a Catholic swamp witch, a devotee to our Mother Mary in the Trinity, a true believer in our Lord, the Holy Ghost, and Christ. Peace be with your spirit and the spirits by you.
Those geek ladies, Sean and Victoria from Exploring the Paranormal with Geeks Paranormal, are at it again with another amazing season full of paranormal celebrity interviews with amazing guests and stories of haunted locations and so much more. You will hear it first on Para X. Tune in Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central. You will not be disappointed.
For the light to shine so brightly, the darkness must be present. Tune in every Monday at 10 o'clock for Dark Sun Rising on the Para X Radio Network.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
And we're back. And before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to all these great shows that we have here on ParaXRadioNetwork.com. Every Tuesday night, you can hear the call or the gathering, not the calling. We're on Wednesday. The gathering is on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And you can hear all kinds of really interesting things with Stephanie and Heidi. They take you around that metaphysical round table, and it's really an interesting show. I know I've been on it a couple of times, and it was so much fun. Great ladies. Also, don't forget, Geeks Paranormal comes on right after our show on Wednesday nights. And also, CJ Dunham has a really cool show, 11 p.m. Central, midnight Eastern, on Mondays and on Friday nights. And she's got some pretty interesting guests coming on her show, too. So I'm going to have to catch that show some more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just wanted to give a shout out. And now let's get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to run through like the top 10 places real quick. So the first 10 is Stanley Hotel. So that's number 10. The other one is number 9 is the Edinburgh Castle in Edinburgh, Scotland. The other one would be number 8 would be the Catacombs of Paris in Paris, France. We have number 7, the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Of course, I've seen that. We were trying to get on there and I haven't. That's one of my bucket lists too. Number 6 would be Alcatraz, the Federal Penitentiary in San Francisco. Also, the Borley Rectory in Unisex, England. And then we have, of course, we talked about the Myrtle Plantation was number 4. We also have number 3 is the Waverley Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. And we have number 2 as the Eastern State Penitentiary. And then number 1 would be the Tower of London, London, England. So, and some of those, and some of those are out of the country. Now, the one I want to talk about real quick, is the Catacombs, which I find super interesting. And I don't know, I'd be a little worried to go under that. I'm just saying, a little worried because the Catacombs are in Paris, France, and it has a huge maze, and they have 7 levels.
Yeah.
And this is underground, apparently.
Yeah.
So something like underground and 7 levels, and it spreads the entire city. And that entire city, that's how big it is. And it holds the remains of 6 million people.
Yeah.
Now, you can't tell me that's not haunted.
No, that's haunted. That's definitely haunted.
and it's a mass grave,
Yeah, it is.
and that's
Yeah.
something I would think, that'd be amazing. And I'm sure there's beautiful history on it and
Oh, yeah.
lots of things. But I mean, there's bones in there. There's
Yeah.
just craziness. And I think I would probably be hit so hard there, it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, between that and being claustrophobic, I just felt that. I'm like, I don't know if I could actually do it because I think I'd be claustrophobic. I'd be so afraid to get lost in the tunnels and never find my way out. And then die with them. No, thank you. But I really want to go.
Right. It does sound interesting, and it does sound, well, of course, it's got to be super haunted, but I just thought I wanted to touch base on that. I mean, who would want to go?
Ooh.
So, yeah. So that's another place. So, So, what else do you want to talk about, Willow?
Well, I have done some very interesting things in the Caribbean. I've been to the haunted forts in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. Gone into their dungeons, which
really,
the energy in there is crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've gone in there in the daytime, but there's not that many tourists. So it's like you can actually use your equipment and nobody knows. So I did bring in a couple of my things, and I was picking up stuff, and there's no electricity in there. None. Not down in the dungeon. There's no electricity. So it's
So
very
what were these
primitive.
dungeons? What were these dungeons like? Were they just, did they help? What's the history on it?
Well, it was from the forts. And in Old San Juan, there's like this peninsula, and like on one side of it is one fort, and then there's another fort on the other side.
Okay.
And so I got to go into both of them when I was there for a couple of days, and it was just really intense. But it was basically the old forts during, where they protected their city when it was just San Juan, the beginning.
Right.
And so, if it was pirates or whoever tried to attack and they captured them, they would go into the dungeons.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of things going on down there. There was one that kept telling me that his face hurt. And I felt like he either had an abscessed tooth or maybe he got shot in the face or something.
Really?
But I kept getting that. Yeah. And then I kept hearing voices like, take the picture over here. Take the picture over here. And I would be snapping photos.
Yeah. I get that. And it validates completely.
Yeah, right? And that was in both of those forts. And then I visited St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I did the St. Croix fort, and they also have a dungeon, as well as St. Thomas. We took the ferry over to St. Thomas, and I did a cemetery over there that was a Danish cemetery, which was so cool and very haunted, even in the daytime. And then we did the fort over there as well, and they have a dungeon as well. It was really interesting.
So
I was capturing all kinds of stuff.
So was this like a haunted tour thing that you were doing?
No,
or was it you just didn't know that?
Go in. No, you can just go in to visit. It's just open to the public like a museum.
Right.
But both the islands are not really populated that much, and tourism, there's some, but people aren't really there to go into the forts. It's more like they're there to go to the bars and they're there to go to the beach and scuba diving and things like that.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So instead, me and my two friends decided, let's go into the forts because there's hardly anybody there. I think there may be one other family that was in there at the same time with us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I
would love to go back because the one thing I did not get to do in Old San Juan was to go into their cemeteries. They have this huge cemetery that is from one fort to the other fort. Right on the ocean. And it's just beautiful. And I love the statuary that's here in our cemeteries in New Orleans, but these are like 20-foot tall angels and things like that
Oh,
in this city.
yeah.
It was just amazing. So I
Yeah.
really want to go there too.
That'd be cool. That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we should think about doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Well,
mind going back to the islands.
I know the sun and everything. God, that's really
yeah.
cool. That is super cool. So the other place that I've been to, and I know a lot of people have heard about this place, and it's called No Penning, and it's No Penning. It was the same thing for tuberculosis as well. People were very sick there, and a lot of people died and stuff like that. So we did the investigation. We got some things were okay and some things, but it was so cold, super cold. I think we did it in February, I want to say. And of course we did it with Sims, and we did it with Odyssey Paranormal. And I don't know, I was feeling it, feeling a bunch of things. I felt like though it was just so cold that we couldn't really do like a whole thing on it yet.
Yeah.
I wish we could go back, because I know that there are some areas that we were all kind of humming, So I don't know. Well, it was just icy cold, and it was super like slick. You couldn't go up and down the stairway or anything like that. So anyways, but I don't think we got any EVPs on that place at all. Nothing that we could say, but like I said, all I know is that we were so frozen. It was not funny. When you're an investigator, you do the craziest things, and you don't think it's going to affect you in no way. But whether it's freezing cold, whether it's, hot, sometimes we're out there just investigating and doing what you got to do,
Yeah.
But it was a really good place. I wish we could do more. I think they're shutting it down. I'm not sure if it already is, but that's all I know. So, but yes, and Ghost Adventures did do it. Is it Ghost Adventures? One of them did it, and I don't know what the results were for them, but it's an interesting place, So, and it's very sad if they're going to be tearing it down. It's a huge hospital. I even think it's a little bit bigger than Waverley, although I have seen Waverley a little bit. I have seen the structure of Waverley. We've been out there before, so I was able to look towards the back of it, because you can't go in it, and you can go around this little neighborhood, and you can actually see the back of Waverley. But I don't know. These two places, they're on the up and up, and I think No Penning could be a little bit bigger, but not sure of it still. So until I get to Waverly, which I will do soon. So so it's interesting, very interesting.
I know. I would love to go to the Stanley Hotel. I have friends that go there regularly.
Yes,
and I would love to go. I think it would be so much fun.
Oh yeah. So Stanley Hotel was number 10, although I think it could have been more in the middle of this lineup. The Stanley Hotel has spirits of children that run in the hall. Well, spirit of a child that runs in the hall. The ballroom is supposedly haunted. They hear people chattering, and they hear piano playing, and then I guess ghost hunters did it. Now, the famous part of Ghost Hunters is and that's what got me so. I already knew about the Stanley Hotel, but when I knew Ghost Hunters did it, they were in the basement or under the ground of it. And they could hear, like, they would say, they heard a little, like a voice or giggling or something. And I just remembered this part of the episode, and you hear this little thing say, hello? Like that. Like, it was so bizarre. And I say that to my investigators all the time, and it cracks me up, because I'll even say it in the house, like if I hear somebody and I'm like, hello, just the way she said it. But I just think it's interesting, because they said hello back, and she said it again, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I was blown away on just that.
That's
so
pretty funny. Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
And they do like investigation tours there too.
Yeah, and I think they're still open to that. So I think they're still open, and I still think you can get in there. And the Waverly and the Stanley would be amazing to go to. Definitely.
Ooh, and Ceiling Cat says, let's all go to the creepy doll island in Mexico.
Mexico. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That actually, so that there is a story on that one where I guess apparently a little girl got sick or something and she died, and that's where the spirit lives, is in that in the doll apparently. You know, and I don't know the history of dolls, but they said that dolls, that was part of the history, is that they would make these dolls for like spirit children for people to have, you know, to comfort and everything. And I think a lot of like some certain voodoos, they do put the spirit into the doll, apparently, something like that, Willow. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, okay, so in voodoo, they use more like dolls, but they're poppets. It's not putting the spirit in the doll.
Okay.
They use them for magical reasons, but the original use of, now this is just the original use of a voodoo doll was because back in the days when the slaves were coming here, that were being brought here, they were still practicing their traditional ways. Now, you have to understand, they did not have doctors. They relied on the healer or the medicine woman who would, or man that would have the herbs and things like that. So the original voodoo doll was a record keeper.
Okay.
You would make your own doll in your own image, and you would put a bit of your fingernail or your bit of your own hair or something into the doll.
Oh, okay.
The reason being is you would take this doll to the village healer, and they would keep a record of what they gave you. Let's say you go for a headache, and they would use a colored pin or something that they would poke into the head that represented the herb that they gave you for the headache. That way, if you came back, but it didn't take care of your headache, they already knew what they gave you.
Oh, okay.
So that they could try something different. And it was really, that was the original use of a voodoo doll. Right. Now, today's, of course, they've used them for other things, curses and what have you. And I've been given one. Well, I wasn't given one. I found one in a building that I rented, and that was a total different story. That thing was just outright creepy, and we posted that picture here on the chat room before.
Oh yeah,
that evil-looking thing that was filled with dead body. I know there was dead parts of the body in there. I just know there was. I don't know what, but there was dead people in that doll.
Right.
I could just feel it. But so voodoo dolls, they weren't putting the spirits in, but dolls have always been known to be back in history as vessels for souls.
Okay.
And I have come across several. I had a client bring me a doll that his grandmother left him purposely. He was the one that was to keep this doll, and he wanted me to do a reading on the doll to see what I felt with the doll.
Right.
She was in the doll.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She wanted him to be the keeper of her soul.
Oh my God.
It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, he's like, well, what's different about this doll? I said, because your grandma's in it.
Oh no.
Don't know why she wants to be in this doll specifically, but she was in the doll.
Right. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a haunted doll, and you know, and I don't feel like she's super haunted. I just feel like if you talk about certain things with her, she doesn't care for it, or she's trying to answer you or something. Her name is Veronica, and she was very creepy looking when we first got her, and people still say she's creepy looking. I kind of feel like if we kind of help her release whatever was holding her back in a sense, like but it did and actually our K2s were going off when we'd ask her certain things and stuff. So who's to say, you know, maybe it was just that situation that the doll was in, and the claims were that she moved her head, her eyes would open and close. They would see her in one spot, and then she was moved to another, like she moved to another spot, and nobody could explain that. And then she
Right.
had these gashes inside her stomach, by her stomach.
Oh, wow.
And when we were talking about, that's when she reacted, or maybe her spirit would have reacted to those gashes.
Yeah.
So we asked her about the gashes, and we asked her, did somebody hurt her? And like right away, the K2 went off. And I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
just the family was kind of blown away, because I actually did it live on Facebook, and because I just wanted to see, what the reaction was. But we did get a couple of K2s just by asking those about the gashes.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing else seemed to happen. So I just think she's okay. So we put her a pretty dress, put her some brand new shoes, and now she just sits here with me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Dress her
so-
all up, make her pretty.
Yeah, make her pretty and feel good.
I don't think that the Warren Museum is open now, but I would love to go there.
Yeah, that is another one, and that's in Connecticut. And
Yeah.
they have the most, like, a huge collection of different things up there. Yeah,
Including Annabelle.
Yeah. What is the story on Annabelle? I mean, does anybody know, like our chat room? What is the story? I mean, is she literally? Some people are saying that Zach Bagans has her. Some people are saying,
she's
and then
still at the Warren Museum. I'm
Is
sure
she
that
still?
in her glass
Okay.
case.
I mean,
they brought her there. They brought her to Zach. I know that he did some sort of a thing, and he's not supposed to touch her, and he touched her, and I watched that.
Of course
show.
he did.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he did.
Oh, she made me do it. Oh, please. Whatever. Please. The doll made me do it. Oh, come on. The devil made you do it too, right? All right, whatever. So, but no, I've had a friend who he had a good friend, another investigator that had gone to the Warren Museum.
Okay.
Annabelle's in the glass case, right? And
Okay.
it says, do not touch the case. Do not antagonize the doll. Okay.
Right.
And he's like, sure, whatever. And they left him alone in the room for a minute. And he goes over and starts messing with the doll, antagonizing her. And all of a sudden it bangs into the glass.
What?
It went after him. Yeah. He left.
Oh
He
no.
left. He's like, that's enough. I'm out of here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you
Don't mess with it.
So you don't mess with it. Plain, they just tell you to not do that.
Not to do that.
Yeah, but to me, that's what you get.
Yep.
Sorry.
Crazy, but what you gonna do? People have to be, the brave one. They don't believe it. Okay, prove it to me. I just don't antagonize when I go on any kind of investigation at all.
Yeah, you don't do that. Be respectful.
Exactly. I mean, if a spirit is there, that's fine. Talk to them, because they were a human spirit. The majority were human spirits that are in whatever location we go to, right? If you're just going to be respectful, then you're going to get more. It's kind of like you get more with honey than you do with vinegar, right? And so I'm always trying to talk with them. Let me know who you are. I'll put you into my prayers, for your spirit to rest. Or if you need help, let me know. And I get more response and more evidence that way than to antagonize. And I would never want to do that. Why would I wouldn't want somebody coming into my house antagonizing me.
Exactly.
If you're going to come into my house, you better be respectful and be polite,
Right. Exactly.
And I look at it the same way, because they think that's their home. So let's be polite, So I always tell anybody that comes with me, because I do public investigations. I take guests on investigations, and I give them a list of rules. And one is, we do not antagonize. We do not provoke.
No.
We are respectful and polite.
Yeah.
And I have a whole series of things, but that is on the top of the list.
Right.
So I think it's very important that we remember that.
Yeah, it is.
No matter where we go to investigate.
Definitely, it is important. So, is there one other place that you would like to go?
I have seen, and I would just have to group this into several. A lot of the prisons that are now closed, any of them, I would be interested in going in, Yes, Alcatraz is very interesting. I think that would be an interesting place to go. I know that one's haunted.
And Alcatraz was built on a native burial ground, and it was also called Evil Island.
Yeah.
There you go, people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
go.
So,
There's
you know what I'm just saying.
Called that. Mm-hmm.
And I've been to the Virginia State Penitentiary, which we got a lot of action. And it was just the bizarrest thing ever, and it was amazing. And I went with Odyssey Paranormal and a couple of people, and it was good because we had the whole place to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
Well, there's also a place, I can't remember where it was. I've seen it. Many investigators have done this, and I think it's in Kentucky. I want to say it's Kentucky. And it's a smaller prison in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Or like a county jail, maybe.
Oh, maybe. I
can't remember what it's called now. If anybody can remember what that's called, please let me know, because I would like to check that out. I've watched, like, Omar Gosh has done it. Some of the other people that have gone there, they get a lot of interesting stuff happening, like doors closing on their own. Yeah. Things like that. I just find it fascinating. But, right here in New Orleans, we have the old U.S. Mint. And I forgot to talk about that one because down in the basement was also a jail, a prison. And they've done investigations here. Ghost hunters have done it years. So that might be an interesting place to go.
That would definitely be an interesting place to go. I would like that. They also have the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it's a huge, and they're the ones that apparently that housed, what is it, like 1,000 cells, and it's 12 acres of land.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then they did they're the first ones to do harsh punishment, like the water bath, the mad chair, and the iron gag. So, and I was going to do a research on those to see what those consist of, but I'm sure that could be another show of tortures. I don't know.
It probably would. I don't think people like that so much.
Yep. We got 2 minutes, Willow. So what do we say before we close out?
Well, Movie says we might want to check out the Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs, Iowa. That might be another place to check out.
That'd be an interesting place to go.
I've never been to Iowa before. Might be something to do.
There's actually quite a few places in Iowa, so yeah.
Really? That would be really cool.
There is. So.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we got 2 more minutes. I think it is 2 minutes. Anyways, but yeah, those are some of the things. I mean, do you have any plans this weekend, Willow? Anything interesting you'll be doing?
I'm gonna be out doing readings in Jackson Square on Friday and Saturday, possibly Sunday, depending on the weather. So if anybody wants to stop by for a reading, I'll be there in Jackson Square in the French Quarter, which is haunted.
And you can text Willow, or not text her, but you can email her and she can give you readings, right, Willow? Yeah.
And my text number is public. It's a business number. Okay. So you can also text me. And you can just find me on willowlemachant.com. All of my information's there. Or on Facebook, I'm there too.
That's awesome. So Cat Paranormal is going to be doing a B&B pretty soon, and we're also going to be doing apparently another hotel which is in Wisconsin. We still have to get the dates for that, and it's supposed to be a bigwig and all complimentary. So we can't wait. So we're excited about that. Yeah. So can't announce it yet until we get a hold of the people. So of course, it's going to be awesome though. And of course, we're going to be doing on October, we're going to be doing the bar and grill. So don't forget. Well, that's it for tonight. Yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. Good night, Willow. Thank you so much. And Jerry will be back.